Hello guys, and welcome back to Dr. Debt Free. In today's video, we're going over my March budget recap or my March budget update. And we're going to be doing that using my Budget by Paycheck workbook by The Budget Mom. So if you haven't seen my March budget with me, I'll link that up here in the cards above. But we already did that late February, and it was budgeted based off of an income of $6,500. Fortunately, this month, I earned an income of $7,764.03 from work. So that's what I had as my total income for this month. Now, if you're new to my channel here, I am a Canadian chiropractor working as an independent contractor in a clinic up here in Canada. So I don't have deductions coming off of my paycheck. I do have to set aside money for taxes and also money for retirement on my own. So we'll get into a little bit more of that later. But we're just going to start going over this budget update with the first category, which is groceries. So for the month of March, I set a budget of $300 and I ended up spending $281.13. When I calculate the difference, and the way that I do that is by subtracting $281.13 from $300, we get negative $18.87. So I underspent in this category by $18.87. Considering the price of groceries and inflation lately, I'll take it. I definitely brought out my points this past month, PC Optimum and Air Miles, and use them whenever I can, and definitely tried to shop more products that were points heavy as well. So I think that really helped. When I calculate the percent of income that was spent in this category, and the way I do that is by taking $281.13, dividing that by $7,764.03, which is my monthly income, and then multiply that by 100, I get 3.6% that was spent on groceries for the month of March. Now, gas, I had budgeted $200 for this month, and I spent really close to it at $202.27. So just slightly over there. So we're over by $2.27. And then when I calculate the percent of my income that was spent on gas, it was 2.6%. Considering the price of gas and the amount of driving we did this month, I'll also take this. Eating out, I did budget $100 for this month. We're trying to have a little bit more fun even while on this debt journey, because it's not a sprint with the amount of debt that I have. It is a marathon. So I budgeted $100, overspent, and spent $133.24. So overspent by $33.24, which isn't too bad, but it's definitely over budget. So we'll definitely work on that in the next month. But the percent of income that I spent on this over the month of March was only 1.7%. So there had been months in the past, honestly, where I would spend way more money on eating out than I spent on groceries. This month wasn't one of those months. I spent more on groceries. So for that fact alone, I'm pretty happy and proud of us. For pet, I budgeted $200, but we spent $257.38, over budget by $57.38. And if you have watched a few of my videos in the last couple weeks, you know why I was over budget in this category. We ended up losing our dog's big bag of food and then getting it back in the end, but by that time I had already bought another medium-sized bag of his food, so that's why we overspent. But our percent of income that went to this even with the overspending, was only 3.3%. And with the extra food, that'll just take us a little bit farther, so we won't have to buy food as soon as we did last time. So it's no big deal. It all catches up. We're not gonna waste it. None of it went to waste, which is great. OSAP, this is my government student loans, and this is what I'm paying a minimum payment only towards right now, as I'm focusing on a bigger, higher interest debt. And this month it was $199.97. So we were under by 3 cents, and 2.6% of my income went towards this debt this month. We're slowly chipping away at the government student loan because it is at a 0% interest. So all of that is going directly towards the principal. LOC, this is my professional line of credit that I used while I was in chiropractic school to pay for my schooling as well as my living expenses, all of that. And I had budgeted $1,200. This is a happy overspending zone. I put $1,235 towards this debt this month. So yes, I overspent in this budget, but in this case, when it is a debt, that is a good thing. And it was $35 extra that I put towards this debt this month. When we calculate the percent of income that went towards my line of credit this month, it was 16%. So that's the biggest chunk that we've had so far. Car debt, I spent exactly what I budgeted. This is a car loan that was bought out by my dad, and I'm now paying him a minimum payment for it without any interest. So very blessed that he did that. I pay $428.03 towards that each month. So there was no change in what I spent or the difference. And the percent of income that I spend in this category each month is 5.5%. So another bigger percent of income that goes to this, but not quite as high as my line of credit. TFSA, which is my tax-free savings account that I invest into mutual funds with a financial advisor. I budgeted $100 and that's what I spent. So, I should probably, just realized I made a mistake here. Let's change that to what I actually spent in that category. There we go. So there was no difference in what I budgeted. And when I calculated the percent of income spent in that category, it was 1.2%. Taxes, this has really been a big focus of mine for the last couple of months as I've been trying to catch up so that I can pay my 2021 annual payment at the end of April. Fortunately, I did get my tax return info back this month, and I did save up enough for the payment that's due April 30th. So while I budgeted $2,400, I was able to put $2,616.38 towards this, which is $216.38 more than I needed. And that is 33.6% of the budget. So definitely the biggest chunk that went towards taxes, but this is another good chunk so that I can actually pay my tax payment and still have a little bit left over, but we'll talk a little bit more about that in my sinking funds update. Gym, this is something that we normally pay bi-weekly. I pay for both my partner and I. And this month we actually had a surprise annual payment come out for the gym. I actually didn't know this payment was coming out. They didn't send an email. I was pretty frustrated and surprised at the time, to be honest, because it was such a big chunk of money. We ended up spending $151.52 this month for a gym membership, which is $124.44 more than expected, and takes up still 1.9% of our income. So it's no big deal, but I put this in my calendar for next year. That way I'm not going to be surprised when the annual payment comes around like I was this time. Phone bill, I budgeted $56.50, and that's exactly what I spent. So there was no difference there, and it was only 0.7% of my income spent in this category. Utilities. We live in a 1-bedroom apartment, my partner and I, and we rent it. So right now, our only utilities that we are spending money on are hydro and our internet. Our hydro last month received a $150 credit when we switched to basically automatic payments coming from my bank account instead of the money coming off a credit card. So we were credited back $150 that we paid the very first time we moved in. So still for this month, I had nothing to pay for our hydro bill because we had that credit applied to our bill. And I believe we won't have to pay much for the month of April as well. So we're saving in this category this month as we're only spending money for our internet, which this month only came up to $97.86. So we saved $37.14 there and ended up spending 1.2% in this category. And for my internet bill, this is actually pretty high because I switched over the service as well. So we were paying a chunk of the service we were paying for before, plus the new one. So that's why that's so high. But we're still within budget there, so I'm happy. Car insurance, this is something that changed in the month of March. So I wasn't really sure what to budget as I didn't receive the package from them yet. I budgeted $220, but we only spent $192.64 in this category. So we saved $27.36 in this category as well, which ended up being 2.4% of our budget. But this includes my car insurance, my partner's car insurance, as well as our tenant insurance. So not too shabby at all. Manulife, this is my life insurance, disability insurance, and critical illness insurance, which has also gone through a change in the last couple of months. So I budgeted $250, but actually ended up spending $282.84 in this category. So overspending by $32.84, which ended up being 3.6% of my income in this category this month. So this will provide a better guide for me going forward so that I can better budget for this category in future months. So no big deal. License fees. This is the monthly fees that I pay for basically to be a chiropractor in Ontario and Canada. I have annual fees as well, but I do have to pay these monthly ones. These are staying the same. They can really only change year to year. So I did spend $208.31. There was no difference there, and it ended up being 2.6% spent in this category this month. CE, I budgeted $29 for a monthly membership, but ended up spending $158 as I upgraded my membership. So this was $129 more than expected and ended up being 2% of my monthly income. Costco and pharmacy, I budgeted $100, but I ended up spending $118.65. So $18.65 more than budgeted, which is 1.5% of my income. I'm not too mad about this. We ended up buying our bulk chicken every single week, which is close to $30. And there was also an instance I bought some almond butter as well because almond butter is the best price at Costco. So if you love your almond butter, definitely go check it out there. Personal, this was a big overspending category for the month. I had budgeted $100 and we ended up spending $555.18 this month in this category. So that's overspending by $455.18. This $555 ended up being 7.1% of my monthly income. And what that went to this month is getting my eyebrows done. And then early on in the month, my partner and I decided we wanted to hire our nutritional health coach again, which cost us over $200. Of course, once you get all that going, you have to buy supplements and protein powder. We bought a lot of bulk protein powder from Canadian Protein. Highly recommend if you're looking for a great quality protein. But that's basically where this all added up to, because our protein and our EAAs ended up being around $300 as well. So I'm not expecting this category to be quite as high next month, but it will definitely be more than $100 then as well. Apple and Amazon, I budgeted $100 but spent $164.67, which is $64.67 over budget and takes up 2.1% of my budget. And this category doesn't just include Apple and Amazon. It includes my Canva membership. It included Crave, which I actually ended up canceling my membership this month because there's not really much on there we're looking to watch. And with our new internet provider, we were able to get Disney Plus for free for the first time. And we did have a couple of Amazon orders that we made as well as I have an Audible membership. I love to listen to books. I commute a lot, so it's one of the ways I like to spend my time there. Credit card payments, we have zero. So zero across the board here. Fees and interest, this is something I ended up spending $50 on this month. And the reason for that is from the little gym mess above. So I had my gym payments coming out of account that I didn't really use much anymore, so I didn't have much of a buffer. So when that payment tried to come out, it tried to overdraft my account and I got charged a $50 fee. So hoping that doesn't ever happen again, because we did pay $50 in a fee this month, which is not really the greatest use of money. So there was no difference in what I had budgeted. And I spent 0.6% in this category. For other, I ended up spending $74.50, which is $22.03 less than what I had budgeted. And what I spent this on this month was a new planner from CEO School. Let me know in the comment section down below if you want me to do a little flip through and plan with me session, because I love planners. And I'm really excited to get this one in the mail soon. And I also spent $10 for a little CBD copay. Up here in Canada, cannabis is legal. And actually through my benefits, I have $2,000 worth of coverage for CBD THC products. I don't like to use the THC products to make me feel weird, but I do really like using the CBD products before bed. They just help me settle down a little bit quicker and I get a more restful sleep. So I just had a $10 copay for that as well. So I ended up spending 0.9% in the other category this month. And then there is a category that I didn't include in my budget because I honestly didn't think I would get to it this month. If you've seen a couple of my videos, you probably know what I'm talking about. My sinking funds, I was able to start this month. So we're just gonna add that in. So we budgeted nothing, but we ended up putting $200 towards our different sinking funds this month, which is $200 more than expected, and ended up being 2.5% of my income that went to that. So just going over some of our, I guess, higher percent of income categories. We had my line of credit. So this went to debt payoff, 16%, which is great. Taxes, 33.6% went to tax savings, which is also great. Don't want to have to be paying interest towards the government. And then we also had personal. I'm not expecting next month to be quite this high. However, this was definitely a high spend month in this category. So something to sort of pay attention to, be more mindful towards in the upcoming months. And then some categories that I was happy that I was under budget in. Groceries for sure. Ended up spending almost $20 less than I had budgeted, which is huge. And then also car insurance. We saved more than expected in that category as well. So when we look at the month-to-month comparison, when we compare February and March, love looking at this because it allows me to see sort of areas, categories I could be doing better in, or ones that I should be damn proud of. And so this month I did earn more income than last, $311.19 more. Groceries, I spent over $126 less this month. Eating out, also spent over $50 less. Taxes, while I did contribute a lot this month, I contributed almost $500 less still. And then Costco pharmacy, I also spent less. And in the other category, I spent less. So there are definitely some proud moments from this month. I'm going to flip back to the front of the book here. Okay, so here is my yearly spending overview where I enter all of my expenses for the month. And then it just allows me to see how I spent those expenses, but then also the amount that I spent in those expenses for the entirety of the year. So I'm going to take a minute here to add in all the expenses, and then I'll meet you on the other side to close out the video. Okay, so I just finished filling out all of my expenses down in this yearly spending overview chart. I did add sinking funds, so that will be something that we will be keeping track of month to month as time goes on. Overall, I'm super happy with this month still. I was still able to earn more income, which is great. And we did underspend in some categories as well, despite overspending in a lot. Now, I want you to let me know in the comment section down below, how did your month of March go? Were you able to hit some of your debt payoff, savings, and investment goals? Let me know below. And if you're interested in checking out the budget for April 2022, I'll link that right here in the cards. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.